progress. Telkom University has proudly accomplished several achievements both nationally and internationally.
Telkom University is committed not only for producing graduates or base human capital, but also to continuously strive producing research and innovations that support for making Indonesia 4.0. Telkom University, creating the future.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Could you hear my voice?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of webinar committee, I offer my regards to our Honorable Dean of School of Communication and Business, Dr. Ade Irma Susanti, Honorable Vice Dean 1 of School of Communication and Business, Dr. Citra Kusuma Dewi, Honorable Head of Business Administration Program, Dr. Saputra, Honorable Head of Research Group of Business Innovation and Development, Dr. Agus Maulana, Honorable Speakers, Prof. Liu Chin from Yuan Ze University, and Dr. Ahmad Yunani from Telkom University, and all participants that attend to today's webinar. Thank you so much for your willingness to come to our second international webinar entitled Supply Chain Management, Transformation, Practical and Research Experience in Indonesia and Taiwan, organized by Business Administration Program, School of Communication and Business Indonesia, collaborated with College of Management, Yuan Ze University, Taiwan. Let's start our event by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. May Allah give us health, and hopefully today's webinar goes well until the end. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Serli Artadita from Business Administration Program, School of Communication and Business. Telkom University will become today's webinar MC and will guide this event until the end. Before we move to our main event, please to all participants to open the camera because we will hear national anthem and sing Indonesia Raya and March of Telkom University. Please, for all participants to open the camera. Okay. For the operator, please help me to play Indonesia Raya and Telkom University Mars. Thank you.
terdekat bersama padukan langkah, bawa bangsa menuju garis depan. Raih cita rajut asa, sing-singkan lengan, tingkatkan inovasi, unggulan berprestasi, semua demi keluhuran bangsa, masyarakat adil sejahtera. Laksanakan pendidikan dengan semangat pengabdian, ciptakan kehidupan gemilang. Telkom University, kebanggaan Pertiwi, maju dengan karya, berperan bagi bangsa, bagi Indonesia, bagi dunia. Telkom University, sinergi bangun negeri, maju dalam ilmu pengetahuan, satukan tekad bersama padukan langkah, bawa bangsa menuju garis depan. Raih cita rajut asa, sing-singkan lengan, tingkatkan inovasi, unggulan berprestasi, semua demi keluhuran bangsa, masyarakat adil makmur sejahtera. Laksanakan pendidikan dengan semangat pengabdian, ciptakan kehidupan gemilang. Telkom University, kebanggaan Pertiwi, maju dengan karya, berperan bagi bangsa, bagi Indonesia, bagi dunia.
Okay, thank you, Operator. Now we will hear the opening speech from our Honorable Dean of School of Communication and Business, Telkom University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ade Irma Susanti. Hello. Dr.
Hello,
Irma.
could you listen my voice clearly?
Yes, Doctor. Yeah, please, Doctor, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished speakers, Prof. Lee Yue Chin, is it right, my pronunciation? And distinguished speaker, Dr. Ahmad Yunani, dear college students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm very happy to welcome Prof. Lee and Dr. Yunan at the Supply Chain Management Transformation, Practical and Research Experience in Indonesia and Taiwan webinar, which held by Business Administration Department, School of Communication and Business, Telkom University. This is the second webinar organized through the collaboration of two universities, Telkom University Indonesia and Yuan Ze University Taiwan. Thank you for the collaboration. The immense pleasure I deliver also to all participants in this workshop. I believe it will give us fruitful insight on doing the emerging research, especially in supply chain management. Proactive supply chain management are very important to improve the customer satisfaction and productivity of the company. The customer is now at the center of all supply chain decision making. Therefore, as academicians, we have to contribute more by having many research in transforming supply chain management. And in this webinar, we would like to discuss what are the research results from Indonesia and Taiwan perspective. And after the presentation of the speaker, we shall explore the finding more by discussing it together in the workshop. In addition, I wish that this workshop can be the opportunity to broaden the golden momentum in doing the collaborative research with the Yuan Ze University or others. Furthermore, I'm so much expecting we can engage in doing the research strategy partnership between the two universities or more. I ensure this webinar will enrich our knowledge. Once again, my sincere gratitude of thanks to Prof. Lee and Dr. Yunani for taking a keen part as the speaker, and to Bu Cut Irna as a moderator, and also Pak Agus, who has been successfully organizing the workshop. I hope it will run in a productive discussion. Have a great workshop, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Irma Susanti, for the speech. I believe that all of you here are ready to hear the presentation from our distinguished speakers. But before that, please open your camera and give your best smile, because now we are in photo session. So for the all participants, again, please open your camera, because now we will take photos for today's webinar. Okay, please open the camera. Okay, for all participants, again, open the camera. Okay. Okay, Dr. Ade Irma, thank you for your time. It's okay, Doctor. Okay. Yeah, for all participants, please open the camera. Okay. We will take photos. Okay, and see. Okay, for the operator, please help me to take the photos. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, next page. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All finished? Okay. Thank you, the operator. Today, the topic is regarding supply chain management. Okay. The question is why we need to know that. Okay. Supply chain management is the main key to achieve good business operations. In practice, there are so many parties involved in supply chain management and so many processes involved. For example, research management, procurement of production goods, transportation, and all other logistic activities. With many changes in our environment, such as the COVID-19 pandemic that hit us since 2 years ago, making all parties, not only the researchers, but also the business owners, need to create an up-to-date supply chain management strategy in order to adapt in today's situation. To get more detailed picture of this phenomenon, today we have two speakers, Prof. Liu Yuachim from Yuan Ze University and Dr. Ahmad Yunani from Telkom University. This session will be directed by Dr. Cut Irna. Hello, Dr. Cut Irna.
Yes, I'm here, Ibu Shirley.
Okay, how are you?
Great. So far, I can't wait for this event.
Okay, but before that, let me read Dr. Cut Irna's CVs. She has, wow, long CVs, actually many experience. But let me point out the reason why. Okay, name Cut Irna Setiawati, right? Okay. Scopus author ID 57164886200. Dr. Cut Irna graduated from Telkom University in business strategy. I'm sorry, with the thesis title Business Strategy Formulation, 2010 until 2015 for Hotel Cihampelas Bandung. And then she graduated from Telkom University also with the thesis title Analysis of Driver Factors in Achieving Sustainable Environment Performance in Hotel Industry. And in 2021, she became research assistant international collaboration research, Telkom University and ex-Marshall School of Economics. And in 2021, she also became full-time researchers at Directorate of Academic Telkom University. For the publication, well, the recent one is regarding e-service quality, customer satisfaction, and repurchase intention. The next one is about analysis of CPRS academic satisfaction on Green Campus implementation in Telkom University with importance performance analysis approach. And the last one, the current one, is window shopping in entrepreneurship class, stimulate the creativity and natural business sense, and many more publications actually. She also published a book with the title of Business Export Import, right? And she also become a speaker in many conferences. For example, the paper's title is Communication Skills During Online Learning Among Business Students. Does it match with business case method? Presented at the Asia Pacific Conference on Industrial Engineering and Operations Management, Indonesia. Also, she got several awards, but the recent one is Gold Medal, International Putra Innovative Poster Competition, University Putra Malaysia, with the title of Poster Global Learning Week, presenting innovative global collaboration in teaching and learning for taught students and faculty. Okay. For the scholarship and award, she also has a lot of it. The recent one is the best performer in teaching and learning in our faculty, in our department, business administration. Okay, Dr. Chitina, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, the time is your doctor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibu Shirley, for help and also leading us for this event. This is our second international webinar collaboration to university in Telkom University in Indonesia and also College of Management Yuan Ze University in Taiwan. Welcome for all participants, distinguished guests, and also all the representative lecturers in both university, in Yuan Ze University and also in Telkom University, and our beloved lecturer and colleges and the Faculty of Communication and Business, Telkom University. Thank you for receiving our invitation for Professor Dr. Liu Yue Chin. How are you, Prof? I do really hope that.
Good morning.
Including we are not vast invest now, but we so grateful to hear your inspiration talks for today, talking about supply chain management. Thank you so much also for Dr. Yunani, we call it Pak Yunan, and our beloved colleague in here, a super duper humble senior lecturer, and I can't wait to hear your presentation from the practice perspective in a supply chain management. Great, what a great collaboration, this university, what a great collaboration for those speakers. And I hope that also all the participants can get some inspirations, motivation, and definitely new knowledge in terms of supply chain management. We cannot deny that companies, retailers, and suppliers are now expected to comply and come up with creative ways to meet customer demands. For examples, like Amazon recently announced that was expanding its same-day delivery service on its Prime Now app, and eBay also tried that pilot project in the United States. For the customer, same-day delivery is convenient, but what they don't see is the significant planning and resources that go on to managing a supply chain that can deliver in such a short time frame. For example, Same-day delivery requires companies to have inventory on hand in close proximity to the customer and to have streamlined logistics that would allow to it process, pick and ship an order almost instantaneously. With those requirements, some challenges, of course, come up to the provider or the company, such as inventory storage management, forcing companies to find a balance between minimal inventory needed to safeguard against stockouts and the threat that inventory might expire or go out of style before it is sold. Remember yesterday in Indonesia, Prof. Liu was 12/12 is important. It looks like the biggest customer day for shopping. So all the customer need a very significant discount. And I believe that maybe all of us also become waiting for that day. And we can imagine 0 rupiahs for the carrier and cargo or the delivery services cost itself. That's what really customer really needed. But determining the right level of inventory is not easy task and also answer what the customer needs. In fact, forecast and demand planning is the biggest challenging in supply chain management today. So we come up with this second webinar in an international level. We invited Prof. Liu and also Dr. Yunan to talk and discuss about this supply chain management. Is it really easy or hard to handle and to answer what is actually the customer really needed? Well, fellow ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, and also for distinguished speakers, for this session, there will be two parts. The first one is I would like to invite Prof. Liu to give the presentation, and then the second part will be Dr. Yunan for the presentation. And then for all the participants, you can write down, you can message to me, for examples, to give a question for all the distinguished speakers after both speakers are present their presentation or materials. For the first one will be Prof. Liu Yuetian. Before to hear the presentation, I would like to read about the detail of Prof. Liu. Prof. Liu, for the educational background, Professional Career Development Institute in Atlanta, Georgia, United States in 1995, and then Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, major in Computer Information System from Hawaii's Pacific University, Hawaii, United States, and also continue for Master in Business Administration in the same university, Hawaii Pacific University. And for 2002 until 2009, graduate for Doctor of Business Administration from the University of South Australia, Adelaide in Australia. And about the work experience done as Prof. Liu had a lot of experience in education institution, but I would like to point out some very important part, which is in Hang Chiang College in Penang, Malaysia, as the coordinator Foundation Studies Department. But before that, in Huada Information Technology until 2001, and then Segi College Penang in Malaysia as the head faculty of business and accountancy, and Han Chiang College also in the Penang as the head of academic affairs section, as a lecturer also in a School of Business and Management. Still in the same college in Penang, Malaysia, is the lecturer, and then moved to District College in Malaysia, in Penang, as the director of administration, head of School of Business, and also as the principal lecturer. And in the same college as the director of academic affairs, head of School of Business in 2014 until 2017, then moved to Mingdao University in Taiwan, 2017 until 2018 as the academic chair, Department of Marketing and Logistics, and also assistant professor. And currently working in, before that, in also Mingdao University as a director of Center of Academic Development and Business Incubation. And then had an experience as the moderator for Diploma in Business and Advanced Diploma in Business in International Examination Body, Manchester, United Kingdom. And currently since 2018 until currently in Yuan Ze University in Taiwan, and the position as the Director of International Program Office and also Assistant Professor in Organization Management. And beside that, also for the training and conference in 2018, attended the 10th Taiwan University Heads of Research and Development Conference in Kaohsiung, and also completed a course for Fundamentals of Digital Marketing by Google Digital Garage, and also had a conference paper evaluating performance of international tourism hotels by using network DEA model in Taiwan Association of Efficiency and Productivity Annual Conference. And for the awards and membership, member of Malaysia Institute of Management in 2009, SGM Award Category 5 Bronze Medal, Jasa Terpuji by Santa John Ambulance of Malaysia, Service Award, Service Medal of the Order of Santa John by Order in Malaysia, State Award Pingat Jasa Masyarakat by the Governor of Penang, Malaysia, 2012, Service Award for 10 years Service Medal by Santa John Ambulance of Malaysia, and also Category 4 for Silver Medal, Jasa Cemerlang by Santa John Ambulance of Malaysia, and the current one is State Award Pingat Jasa Kebaktian by the Governor of Penang in Malaysia. Well, without further ado, we would like to please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our first distinguished speaker, Professor Liu Yuan from College of Management, Yuan Ze University, Taiwan. Please, Prof, time and screen are yours.
Hey, thank you, Joanna, for the very detailed introduction. Yeah. Let me bring up my screen. Okay. Hang on. Okay, thank you again, Georgina, for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation and an opportunity to present a little bit about our knowledge in Taiwan on the supply chain. And today, what I'm going to talk about is building the digital supply chain, which is, can you hear me? I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. So building the digital supply chain. What I'm going to talk about today is mainly on disruptive technologies, because if you are looking at the market today, the industry today, there are a lot of new technologies that come by and basically disrupt the way we do business, and we have to basically pay a lot more attention to this kind of disruption. So going back to original, when we first look at a lot of this technology, most of the technologies are development are incremental. That means it basically goes from one basic technology that goes from basic to an intermediate level, then from intermediate level to advanced level. So it is more like what we call the green line over here, where the development can be continuous in over the time. But what happened is that once in a while, or what we can see increasingly in today's environment, is that there are a lot of technologies that comes in as a yellow line. And this yellow line basically breaks away from the green line. So it is not something that follows the old path. It is something that is new. And we call that disruptive technological change. And as a business, we have a lot of business that is facing a lot of challenges in dealing with this kind of disruptive technology. Because if you are talking about business from a management perspective, we always remind students and we always ask the business managers to always pay attention to the changes and the development in the market. But of course, with incremental technological change, it is easier, much easier, I would say, to keep track of, because you know where they are and you know what articles or what magazines or what journals to look at in looking for this kind of traces and trails of this change. But there are always more and more technologies that comes about from different aspects of life. For business, for example, we used to pay attention to the basic technology, and a lot of us, especially from the developing country, we are basically focusing on operations and productions aspect. Yeah. But then suddenly we discovered that there are quite a lot of technologies that comes not from the productions and operations. They actually originated from the IT sector. So let's take a look at this change. If you look at top disruptive technologies, and try to Google disruptive technologies on the internet, and instantaneously you can see IoT, the Internet of Things. We are talking about cloud technology. We are talking about virtual reality or augmented reality, artificial intelligence, blockchain, 5G connectivity, to skip ahead. And all these disruptive technology, you can, if you think back, they are all originated from the IT sector. Or as Elna mentioned, many years ago, we don't have, before we have the term information technology, it was called computer information system. And that's where I was studying my major as. So it suddenly becomes a reality that as a manager, we have to be IT connected as well. Yeah, and previously we always thought that we shall leave IT knowledge to the IT department or to the IT professional, and let them worry about all the computers, equipment, and internet. And now we have to look at it ourselves. And not to forget, we also have 3D printing, which is basically making a lot of changes in the way our products are made, our moldings. If for anyone who is involved in any business of building a mold for production, the 3D printing brings a lot of changes to that aspect. Yeah. And now everybody is talking about autonomous vehicle, and it cannot be made possible with all the without all the technologies that I mentioned. 5G connectivity, which give a lot of bandwidth, so that we can have real-time images between the vehicle and the satellite, and also the road conditions that has to be constantly updated for autonomous vehicle to operate safely. And when we look at all these kind of disruptive technology, one important aspect of this technology is that how does it affect the supply chain? And mind so, the supply chain challenge in Taiwan is very different from those that Indonesia is facing. First thing, if you are looking at the size of Taiwan, Taiwan is such a small island compared to a big country like in Indonesia. There are only about 23,000 people living on the Taiwan island itself, compared to huge population in Indonesia. Not only in terms of the land size, but Indonesia is different from Taiwan, that the country itself is split apart and into many islands. So it provides a very different set of challenges compared to Taiwan. Now, you mentioned about the coming out from December 12th, yesterday, where everybody was going crazy trying to buy things, whereby shipping is basically zero cost. But you are very right that this cost is not as simple as it is from the consumer's perspective, because in order to make all these things happen, we actually have to employ, or businesses have to employ quite a number of these pieces in disruptive technology in order to prepare the businesses to do the zero shipping or the free delivery kind of arrangement. Yeah. So first off, why is it that we will ask consumers to place their items in the shopping basket first? Because the moment consumer place their items in the shopping basket, then the seller would be able to know what are the possible demand. People who are interested in buying certain goods from a certain location, and to quickly check with the warehouses nearby on whether those items are indeed available. And if it's not available, then you should start to send a little bit more of a backup supply before the order is eventually confirmed. And this basically requires knowledge in consumer spending, consumer behavior. So blockchain can provide perhaps some solutions to those understanding, to those information, whereby these informations are anonymous, but they are really transparent in a way whereby you can actually tap into those information. And it is, of course, with other technologies, we are able to track the package very quickly. So if you look at the impact of all these disruptive on technologies on a supply chain, and the supply chain requirement has not changed over a few thousand years. We always, for those who study logistics and supply chain, it can always go back to the Han Dynasty, or even prior to the Han Dynasty, where Zhuge Liang, during the Three Kingdoms era, where the militaries are taking up logistics challenges to transport military supplies and goods along a very long battle line. And basically, one thing that has not changed is that supply chain always has to depend on the speed. I mean, how do we deliver things, move things from one end to the other end faster? Accuracy. That means you need the goods at the point when it is needed, at the right time and the right place and the right amount or quantity. And at this time, this internet era, we are talking about efficiency as well. So let's go back and take a look at speed. What has changed? Well, as I say, in order to make December 12th successful event, a lot of information has to be up to date. So we need up-to-date information. Not only that we need up-to-date information, we need it quite real time, so that we can prepare what is upcoming. And secondly, we need to increase accuracy. And increasing accuracy means reducing error. And we also need to increase data security to make sure that information is available to those who need it, but not to over cloud these people with too much information, or information that are not relevant. So we need relevant information. We need security so that people feel safe. People feel that they can trust the data, the information, and rely on the information to make decisions. And we are also able to make a better forecast so that we know when to move things, when to start to move things before the event actually happens. Yeah. And thirdly, we have to focus on how to use more data efficiently. With the vast amount. When in the earlier part we say that we want to increase the information, we want up-to-date real-time information, but then at the same time we also do not want to be overloaded with too much information where we do not know what to look for and where to start. So it is important that we have to be very efficient in finding out what kind of data is useful for us. Yeah. How do we share more data? A lot of logistics part, okay, as I'm going to talk about later, we still share data the very traditional way. And the very traditional way I'm talking about, I have my own network, and you as my vendors or my suppliers has your own network, and you never share those information. And this system probably would be very different system that they don't actually talk to each other directly. So the data sharing has to be done via the older file system with an export and import a mass amount of data before it can be shared. And all these things slows down the speed of sharing. Yeah? So we need to share more data efficiently. And we also need to ensure that the automation, a lot of this sharing of data is automated, whereby it is no longer be pulled by humans. When I ask for it, then only you prepare the data for me, or you will prepare the data for me, trying to guess what kind of data I need and send the data over. But nowadays, with the interconnection of the blocks, okay, as in blockchain, we are able to ensure that some of this information can be shared seamlessly, yeah, without me asking for it, or without you trying to guess what you want to share with me. And so as and when I need the data is can be shared immediately, and so that is what we call automation. Yeah, and of course, the word automation may include a lot of other things as well. But I think in this context of supply chain, we are talking about information sharing, yeah, to speed up things. Let's take a look at what I have over here. If you, I think a lot of us would be very familiar with this entire logistics chain, whereby you would have the exporter on the left side, the shippers. If you need to send something over to from Indonesia as an exporter to Taiwan, for example, from the front end, it looks very simple. The company as an exporter just send off the goods and wave to the goods, bye bye, and send them off onto the boat, onto the ship, and then we'll just wait a couple of weeks later, 1 week, I think, 1 week plus. Then it will arrive at Taiwan port, and you are ready to welcome it. But not knowing that we actually, at the back end of these two, exporter and importer, we have a lot of processes that is being done. In dealing with the bank, with the customs, with the forwarders, and the actual carrier, and you have to be the carrier also have to be updated with the weather reports for the while the products or the shipment is en route to Taiwan, and avoid any thunderstorms and hurricane. By the way, we have one hurricane coming up on the east side of Philippines. We are still not sure when it will, which part it will take, but yesterday, December 12th, when I was looking at the forecast, it seems to be making a cut across the central Philippines and up the north side of Borneo. So imagine that if our carrier is en route, our products and goods is en route, while the South China Sea, it will definitely be hit, affected by the hurricane. So we need to know how to avoid that. Yeah. So this basically, all this information, as I say, we need speed, we need accuracy, and we need efficiency, as always in logistics. And at the back end, I think for those people who are involved in the preparing the documentation for each stage of this entire shipment, import and export and import process, you know that the amount of paperwork is actually a lot. And the worst thing is that this paper has to be signed and has to be cited. Now, what can we do? How can we add value to the chain? Is by taking on some of these disruptive technologies like blockchain, so that the information can actually be made available on cloud, and people can actually access to it and trust that, know that, and trust that this information is accurate, and has a lot of dependency on these things. So we are talking about a leaner trade, whereby you do not have to have all this amount of paperwork lying all over and flying all over from one end of the world to the other part of the world. Things can be made much leaner and simpler. We need to, there's a need to increase transparency, whereby you can actually gain access to this document as and when you need to refer to it. Yeah? And this has to be able to improve traceability of this document at each stage. And as you mentioned, Ina, that there with the app, not only that these exporter and importers are able to see and trace the movement of goods, but even consumer themselves can trace the goods from their end. So this is what we call traceability. Yeah. And then tradability, whereby basically everybody is talking about the same language, using the same language, same set of documents. And I think one of the challenge in between Indonesia and Taiwan is that Indonesia uses Indonesian in many of the documents, the Indonesian language, which is a big challenge in Taiwan, because in Taiwan everybody reads Chinese. So how do Indonesian Bahasa Indonesia can be made equivalent and comparable with Chinese? And of course, we can always say English is the one, but can it be just numbers? Seems like everybody knows how to count from 1 to 10. So that is constantly a challenge, between two countries. And we are just talking about Indonesia and Taiwan. We are not talking about the rest of the world, which can make things much more complicated. Yeah. And it is also very important that accountability is there. So in the process of providing or increasing transparency, traceability, tradability, but without losing the accountability, and therefore maintaining the fourth key that I always believe in, which is the word trust. How much do you trust the system, and how much dependence do you have to put on it? No stress, no worry, no pressure. Yeah, so that is the challenges of businesses in trying to add value to the chain. And for those people or those businesses who are able to quickly adopt and accept the idea and the advantage of these individual disruptive technologies that brings about, and quickly integrate that into the system, then they will basically have what we call the competitive advantage. Now, for those who are slower, they will find that they are quickly out of the game. Yeah. So what happens is that in preparing for the future, we need to have the business managers or the businesses have a very clear good strategic planning. That means you know exactly where you want to go. You have a good strategy, and you have to actually plan ahead as much as possible. And then review. Strategic planning doesn't mean that you plan one time and just put it aside and don't look at it for the next 3 to 5 years. It means you have a plan ahead, and then you go back to it frequently to check it out. Is it still relevant? Is there new information? Is there new technology that comes over? How do we incorporate these new changes into our strategic plan so that we can stay on course? Yeah. So this is what we call strategic planning. And of course, secondly, we need to have good SCM, supply chain management knowledge. You're truly someone who truly understands how things move from end to end. Yeah, how things move from end to end. And thirdly, to add to the challenges, we need to understand technology. And one thing that I always find intriguing and challenging to explain to students of Yuan Ze University or even potential students is that why is it that Yuan Ze University forces everyone to learn programming language? Yeah. So we have students not only from the College of Management who is making a big fuss about learning programming language. We insist that students from our arts program, linguistic program, also learn about programming language. That as a basic graduation requirement, because we basically want people, future managers, future business people, to understand more about the technology, and be able to do programming. Means they're able to speak the language. I always like to go back to my time when I was studying for computer information system, whereby and as a business student, whereby and because of that, I know a little bit more about the programming aspect, how to write the programs. I know how the IT people, what they want and how they talk to each other. And more importantly, I also happen to understand how business managers would like to think about business problems. Yeah, and the best thing about being someone who is on a computer information system or IT in this way is that we are the best bridge in between, because we seem to understand both sides, and we are able to come up with a system that works seamlessly. And that happens to go and coincide with my early career in Huada Information Technology, in terms of how we provide total solution in enterprise resource planning and material requirement planning, whereby we have to put certain things on computers, but without cutting off the human element entirely. And we also have to understand how human choose or prefers to interact with the computer software, so that there's sufficient control and sufficient oversight in terms of automation and all these things. So understanding technology becomes an important part of today's environment. And last but not the least, leadership is equally important. We need leaders who really can understand all this, not only strategic planning, but the knowledge of supply chain, understand the technology enough, be open enough to be able to accept these kind of new disruptive technologies and not to kill it while these ideas are being introduced at that moment, and to be able to provide enough freedom for the followers, not only the leaders, for the followers, to be able to implement some of these new ideas. Now, I find that one of the major challenges in leaders in Asia is that many of the leaders are still quite authoritative and authoritarian, whereby they would choose to say what they think is correct, but when they say it, the hierarchy itself will actually cut off a lot of creativity and innovations and ideas from the lower rank, because in Asian culture, we should respect the seniority. Yeah. So when a senior speaks, the juniors shut up. Yeah, they stop saying, sharing their idea, and that becomes a challenge in leading in leaderships in Asian part, Southeast Asia and East Asia part of this world. So as a leader, how do we maintain the required authoritative figure, but allow enough room for the juniors, for people and for ideas to be creative and to be sprouting and to be shared all over. So I think this will continue to be our challenge for the next 20 or 30 years. Hopefully, we do not have to waste too much time to understand the basics of these things. And for companies, if they are, as I say, if they are able to understand this and pick up and accept these kind of ideas quickly, then they will stand an advantage over those who are slower. So it all goes back to the first requirement in supply chain management, the speed of adopting these technologies. All right, and I think that's all I have to say today. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. Thank you for the opportunity to present again. And if you have any specific questions after the webinar, please feel free to email me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Liu, for very insightful alert and wording in terms of supply chain management. And I believe this is so interesting to follow the advanced aspects in this field, right, Prof? Like from the leadership itself, strategic planning, all the company, then finally, what we call it, more comprehensive to build and craft their strategic planning, because they don't want to lose any opportunity, including in handling of a supply chain management, but in another side that also want to give the good product and quality for the customer itself. Very challenging. I think as far as business still exists, this topic is always exists as a one package of this part. Thank you so much for all the participants. I would like to hold on. I would like to be patient, participants, to give a question. We would like to hear the second distinguished speaker, Dr. Yunani, will also sharing about supply chain management from another perspectives. So for all participants, after Dr. Yunani give his presentation, so question and answer will open for all participants. But right now you can write on the chat box or hold on. I will invite you after the second part of the second speaker. So we move to the second speaker, Bapak Ahmad Yunani. It's one of our colleges in Business Administration Department. Dr. Ahmad Yunani graduated in management from the Faculty of Economics, Jenderal Sudirman University, Purwokerto in 1991, and continue for master degree in Industrial Engineering and Management, Bandung Institute of Technology, and graduate in 2004, and then achieve for doctoral in a Doctoral of Science and Management, Faculty of Economics and Business from Pajajaran University, Bandung in 2014. The employment history also had a great experience. Previously in 2001, start in 2001 as the Secretary of the Head of Marketing Management Program in Polytechnic Pos Indonesia, Bandung, and then Head of Marketing Management Program in the Polytechnic Pos Indonesia, also in the same university, in the same Polytechnic, and Head of Academic Senate in Polytechnic Pos Indonesia, Head of Research Center and Public Serving for Polytechnic Pos Indonesia, and also Chairman Center of Technology in the same Polytechnic or Applied Science, and a member of the Institution Quality Assurance Unit in the Institute Management Koperasi Indonesia or IKOPIN in Sumedang. For lecturing experience, also had a lot of experiences in teaching and learning, but I would like to point out the the newest, or what we call it, in 2001 until 2016 as a permanent lecturer in the Polytechnic Post Indonesia, with the subject is logistics management, and also permanent lecturer in Institute Management Koperasi Indonesia with the subject operation research and quality management, production systems and operation management for master degree. And also in 2020 until currently, permanent lecturer in Telkom University. Special subjects is supply chain management and also business process. For the publication in International, Adopting Supply Chain Management Model to Improve Cooperative Performance, which was presented in the proceeding of the first Borobudur International Symposium of Humanities, Economics, and Social Science. Competitiveness as mediating variable in measuring supply chain performance in the International Journal of Economic Policy in Emerging Economics. CAPEX efficiency and service quality improvement via tower sharing in the Indonesia telecommunication industry, published in the International Journal of Service Economics and Management. The influence of collaboration and business process on competitiveness and its implication for supply chain performance of industry, garment industry, in published for the proceeding on society and interdisciplinary business research, supply chain management framework for small medium enterprise, presented in the third Information System International Conference, 10 November, Institute of Technology, and the latest, and also including supply chain design in the creative industries. It's also interesting in the creative industry. For the practitioner experience, as an officer of PT Pos Indonesia, as a secretary of a board of commissioners, PT Kereta Api Logistik, subsidiary of PT Kereta Api Indonesia in Jakarta, head of strategic office, PT Pos Logistik Indonesia, subsidiary of PT Pos Indonesia in Jakarta, commissioner of PT Buana Aviasi Solusindo, aviation spare parts trading and distribution, which is based in Jakarta, and also CEO of PT Pancanaka Nusantara Jaya in Jakarta. And until into 2020, as a commissioners of PT Pancanaka Nusantara Jaya, training and competency development for logistics and transportation. Beside that, the last one is also get some of certification or training attendant. In 2021, I just pointed a three latest one, training and certification trainer and coach for small and medium enterprises and cooperatives certified by National Certification Institution in Lapenkom Jatim, training and certification Til Agilis Scrum, certified by Til Agilis in Singapore, and also certified competency assessor for supply chain manager from BNSP or national certification institutions. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Ahmad Yunan. Sir, are you ready? We can wait for your sharing. Time and screen are yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, Bu Ina. So detailed of my curriculum vitae. Yeah. Thank you for my opportunity to share, especially my little experience in supply chain management practice. Thank you also, Prof. Liu, for your willingness to join this webinar and your very interesting presentation of research in the field of supply chain management, especially supply chain management technology. Yeah. I look forward to having the opportunity to do some research with you, probably. Shoot the live, probably. Okay. Let me present my PowerPoint. Is it the okay? All right. I'm going to split my 30 minutes presentation into these four topics: supply chain management excellence, and then supply chain management from the perspective of academic and practice, from past, present, and future, today's supply chain management issues and also academic practical collaboration in supply chain management. But I would like to continue and add what Prof. Liu has already exposed about digital and technology in supply chain management. With the current information and phenomena like this, that the adoption of supply chain technology in 2020, we can also look at that cloud computing and storage is the first priority in the supply chain area, supply chain management area. And then followed by inventory and network optimization tools, and then sensor and automatic identification, robotic and automation, predictive and prescriptive analytics, and then industrial Internet of Things, yeah, IoT was the most the newest issue in supply chain management also. Wearable and mobile technology, 3D printing also, and then autonomous vehicle was probably exposed and in his presentation, and autonomous artificial intelligence also, yeah. Blockchain and distributed ledger technology is also the most new issue in supply chain management technology and adoption. And also the aspect to strengthen the supply chain in 2020. The first factor is also adoption technology, adoption and operational technology like feasibility and transport management system, inventory management system, and the operational fleet management system, warehouse management system. Also, all about the technology to embed in the supply chain management practices. And also the business models are more digital and direct sales. Yeah, we all in the edge of the business in the sales and marketing and sales division also apply or make IT especially apply Salesforce, and then customer relationship management and so on. And then technology also the potential disruptive also look at the technology and the future, yeah, like robotic process automation is the aspect technology also, and the priorities is digitalization of the supply chain. I think that what Prof. Liu has exposed in your presentation, yeah, Prof. Liu. And also, what software used in the supply chain management area? As we know, SAP is the most leading software, I think, like that, Mr. Liu, maybe it's right, yeah. SAP is the most leading software used in the supply chain management area, and then Oracle, and then Blue Yonder. I do not familiar the other of SAP. Yeah? This is what the technology is very important in the supply chain management area. But back to the basic concept of supply chain management, I think okay. I would like to take you to the area of assembly facility of ambulance manufacturer. Yeah? Let's visit various coach assembly facility. How many parts are used to make a car or to make an ambulance? Actually, there are 12 major ambulance design, which include of 18,000 different inventory items, where the most of them 12,000 of parts are purchased parts, and only 6,000 manufactured parts. So most of the product line is custom design. So the customer may require what they need the ambulance by their requirement. Yeah? So the production is so complex. This customization necessitates precise order, excellent bills of material, and exceptional inventory control from supplier to assembly, and also an MRP system that works. Yeah? Material requirement planning. This the illustration of how complex the supply chain is. So, what if there are 100 orders come from different customers with different design? How to synchronize the entire process so that customer orders can be fulfilled according to their requirements? In terms of quality, that we can produce and deliver the acceptable quality, and also at a reasonable cost. So, if we talk about supply chain management, the measurement of supply chain management indeed is how we can get the service level accepted by the customer and also in efficient condition. And then in the final turn is how to maximize overall value created by our supply chain system. Okay. So what is the actual picture of supply chain management? Here we can see that the supply chain is the flow of material and information, material and goods. If we talk about in downstream, we talk about the material flow and a good flow, and upstream is material flow. Yeah. So the flow is accompanied by a flow of information and supported by service needed. Yeah. We can look that there are many entities involved in the supply chain system. So the challenge is how to perform the supply chain, or how to perform the product from the material coming from the supplier and then produced and then delivered to the customer, fulfill what they require. And more complex supply chain also involves the unit and also department inside the company. Yeah, the company, or we use the term original equipment manufacturing. Here, supply chain also we can look at internal point of view of supply chain. That is integrated between among the unit and also and department inside the company, and also in extra organization, like with the supplier. We have to keep the supplier relationship management, and customer, how to keep the relationship with customer, and the supply chain also look as the factor of strengthen the competitive advantage of the company. As a system, supply chain is also often defined in both the aspect of network and then integration to create a value-added process and system, and also process integration. And many scholars define the supply chain management based on their own perspective, their different perspective. Some of them define it on value-added flows, and then coordination, the links in the chain for customer satisfaction, integration of key business process, planning and management activities, the flows of products, services, finance, or information from source to customers. And also the final, the newest is in the supply chain management is also software or tools used in the supply chain operation. And what are involved in the supply chain management? Supply chain management involves suppliers provide goods or services to customers, and then maybe sometimes we get material not directly to suppliers, but through the sub suppliers, which provide goods or services to another supplier. And then we supply chain also involve the internal operation, original equipment manufacturers. There is all process that are performed internally to transform input into output. And then from downstream point of view, there are trade customers, the entities buying and selling of goods and services on a market, and also maybe sometimes retail customers that sell of goods directly to the customers, and end user or the final customer. The final customer of the product or service, they represent the end of the distribution channel or the end of the cycle of the supply chain. And from the perspective of activities and process, supply chain management involves material flow from the supplier until the end customer or end user, and then information flow, how the data flow from the supplier come from customer order and then processed by OM, and then how to make and release purchase order to supplier, and finally funds flow, where the supply chain to have to be fueled to perform the operation. And Menser, I think that this is still relevant to talk about supply chain management. Menser and al. Depict a supply chain management model like this. So here, supply chain management, the end of supply chain process is customer satisfaction of value or profitability. If we look from our internal side, and also for strategic goal is competitive advantage through the flow of products, services, information, financial resources, demand, or also forecast for the first from the start of the business is begin with demand forecast. Through the resources we have in intercorporate coordination involve functional shifting, third-party providers, relationship management, and also supply chain structure, where the function of our company, marketing, sales, research and development, forecasting of production, and so on. So how to the challenge is how to integrate, how to collaborate and coordinate all these functions internally and with the supplier and the customer externally. And supply chain management itself has grown over the past 2 decades from the fragmented and unautomated process to be a complex, integrated, and highly automated system, which if we look at the value of supply chain management create, there are a flow of the supply chain management. The first value flow, the most obvious and visible part of supply chain, and the core of the flow is goods and service flow, like materials, work in process, finished goods, spare parts, and so on. And then as a backbone, yeah, information flow, one of the supply chain that enable and driver of supply chain management, and then cash flow. The cash flow is the fuel of all activities of supply chain. Is this ultimate performance? Yeah, maybe some solar measure the supply chain management by this aspect of supply chain management. Yeah, and from time to time, supply chain management itself introduced, and the first time introduced by Kate Oliver and Weber. Kate Oliver is a consultant at Booz Allen. So the first introduced the term of supply chain management, and then by Cooper and Aram, yeah, the implication of supply chain management for purchasing and logistics. So this is still focused on purchasing and logistics, or a part of supply chain management. And then for the first Aram also look the supply chain management mostly concerned on the logistics goals, and the recent supply chain management is still the point of view of strategic value, creating value. Supply chain orientation is still a must for supply chain management in implementation. Yeah. Benefit of information sharing, risk and reward sharing, cooperation based on partnership. So I think that supply chain management is the interesting field of research. For the future, the strategic nature of supply chain, customer value creation, or purpose of supply chain management, supply chain orientation as an essential facilitator of supply chain management and collaboration is still relevant for research, I think. And talking the School of Thought of Supply Chain Management proposed by Bechtel and Jayaram, there are four perspectives of supply chain management: the existence of a chain of functional area, and then logistics and transportation as the core of execution or the core of operation of supply chain, the flow of information as a backbone, enabler, and also driver of supply chain management, and also the final or the ultimate goals of supply chain management is adding value through integrating supply chain areas into a system. And there are creation era, and then the integration era, and then globalization era, and specialization era. It's the switch of supply chain management. And today's is in supply chain management. The first is the market of supply chain management worldwide. From 2020 to the prediction of 2026, yeah, that is this is the increase market worldwide. I think that is very high. Yeah? The increase of market of supply chain management, and software I have exposed it before. Yeah. Supply chain management of software, including procurement, market, also we can say it exponentially. Now, what the supply chain challenge in 20th century and 21st century? Yeah? The challenge is the most challenge of supply chain is hiring and retaining qualified workers. So for the student do not you will it is a potential for you, yeah, to make yourself with supply chain knowledge, supply chain practices, and also supply chain competence. Yeah, it's very high for your market, for the market for you. It is very prospecting for you. Yeah, and then forecasting, customer demand for lower cost. Yeah, you have to how to make product or services with low cost, but keeping customer service level or customer requirement. And also rising customer service expectation, yeah, how to deliver our product or our services, like Bu Irna exposed that we can get a product without delivery costs, without courier costs. How can, yeah, and also supply chain disruption. Main concern of supply chain geography also is the question infrastructure. Yeah, we know that infrastructure is the very basic need for supply chain management. Yeah, as we know, Indonesia is the very big country, a cyclic country with so many problems of supply chain practices. Yeah, like especially in infrastructure. Yeah, and then incurring additional costs. Yeah, Indonesia has so many regulation has been released to regulate the supply chain and logistics costs, to lower the logistics cost. The newest is regulation about ODOL, yeah, ODOL. We can the abbreviation is ODOL, over dimension and overload, because this is the bad practice in logistics and supply chain, and finding right vendors or supplier, and so many problems, so many challenges in supply chain, especially by geography aspect. What's the impact of coronavirus pandemic on supply chain across industry? The most serious is delays in cross-border land transportation. Maybe this will be better in the future, yeah. Especially the trade relationship between Indonesia and Taiwan, because so many commodities we need from Taiwan, and also many commodities Taiwan needs from Indonesia, yeah. And the second, severe delays in occupying critical supplies, and then no longer able to acquire critical supplies. This is the serious impact of pandemic, coronavirus pandemic on supply chain. Most not only the company by company, but also all the whole system of supply chain, I think. And the impact of COVID-19 on supply chain operations, the most impact is our supply chain has been interrupted. We can also experience the interruption of supply chain. How we cannot acquire the material friendly, and we cannot sell our product and service directly to the customer. We have to through enforce many other parties, especially. But in other side of coronavirus, it may be blessing in disguise for courier service, logistics service. Yeah, in our experience, yeah. In one day, in our environment, there are so many traffic in delivery of e-commerce. This is maybe a blessing in disguise of coronavirus, and we are experiencing decrease in sales. Yeah, as well, yeah, and experiencing a significant increases in demand for certain items. Yes, so also lack of business or demand, curtailing sales and revenue. Orders have been cancelled. Yeah, so many orders have been cancelled. Employee safety measure decreased efficiency Yes, sure. We have completely closed our physical place of business, and also not having enough PPA available to conduct business effectively. This is so many COVID-19 impact to in supply chain operation. And the disruption of supply chain as along this supply chain, in the stages of supply chain, congestion or airports and other transshipment points. Yeah, probably we now Indonesia now is developing many ports to support the trade fluency. Yeah, we know as President stated as the sea-toll, and we are also building a big port near the Jakarta Tanjung Port in West Java, and also disruption also in the sourcing of transportation capacity, because the transportation player also impacted by the coronavirus, and so also ensuring supply of goods or inputs. Yeah, we also have experienced difficulties in getting the materials. Downstream distribution and delivery to consignees, I need the disruption also to deliver or distribute our product and services to final customer. And then international operations, because the condition of coronavirus pandemic can also impact for on the relationship bilaterally or multilaterally, and also storage of goods, so the significant disruption. And here the losses from supply chain disruption provide. Yeah. The most losses is in the retail very the shaper and retail industry. Yeah. Supply chain adoption, I have exposed it in the first, and also technology also the first factor to strengthen the supply chain is suggested by practitioners, and it is also potential disruptive of the technology for supply chain. I exposed first, also the cost software, and projected business and supply chain operation priorities in the recent conditions, business continuing planning, planning aspect, and then invest in technology is the second priority, and ensure the financial viability, diversity supplier is for minimize the risk of supplying, and the last priorities is near or reshare operation. Okay, I think that how to collaborate in my opinion, as based on my experience as a staff of 3PL player, then how to integrate the business and synchronizing a set of action of business partners. One of our big customer is a lubricant manufacturer, and we handle the warehouse management system, and also distribute the product. The product is lubricant for automobile, for machine, heavy equipment in can, and also bulk oil or lubricant. The process starts from the order fulfillment, like let's say the distributor is with code of BGM 01 issues a purchase order with the number of purchase order 025 for item like this item and quantity. How to process the order? How to order? How to fulfill the order? Because this is complex because this order, this business involves three parties. Yeah, we as 3PL, and then manufacturer as the producer, and also the owner of product, and also the distributor as customer. So we have to comply what our customer is the manufacturer, yeah, because we serve the manufacturer with our logistics service. So we have to comply. We have to fulfill what they require. One of the requirements is we have to develop a warehouse management system which can be interoperability. We can communicate with their system, my staff. They apply my SAP for their business. This is the first. And the second experience in my perspective is a trader. Yeah, a trader for efficient spare parts. Yeah, where we also how to integrate the supplier. We have to get acquire the material from customer, from supplier, and distribute it to customer with the customer requirement. The challenges are how to synchronize sales order, stock, and also purchase order with this condition. This is our customer, and this is our supplier. And the second is how to keep customer relationship management and also supplier relationship management working well, and how to measure supply chain management performance. This is, I think that this is a interesting aspect of in the supply chain management to research. Yeah, and supply chain management also have to be applied in the policy making. In Indonesia, you know, a big country with abundant resources. Like one of the resources, nickel. Nickel. This is the product tree or on the map of product tree production. The structure of the production of nickel from the mining. Yeah, we mining produces ore sulfate or ore liquid until the application product, like product for household, like stainless steel for household, ship and construction, agriculture, electronic casing, defense, oil and gas transport, automobile, railway, so many application that the material come from the nickel commodities. We have abundant source of nickel. So the challenges is for policymaker how to regulate the industry. So the industrial map will be give the most beneficial for our economics, I think. That's all my presentation. Thank you for my opportunity, Wina. Thank you. I will return this screen to Ina. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Ahmad Yunan, Dr. Ahmad Yunani, for a great presentation. I think Prof. Liu and Dr. Ahmad Yunani complete one each other. It means that all the elements which Prof. Liu have been delivered, completed with Ahmad Yunani. I mean, it's so insightful speech about the supply chain management. And I could see that participants, finally, I know exactly about the supply chain management. We know exactly the flow of information, the flow of goods or services itself, and also from different perspective, from practical and also research and the evolution of supply chain management itself. Well, for all the distinguished speakers, we would like to move to the very critical part of every webinar, which is question and answer session. We would like to start from our beloved students, Kevin Insan Hutahian. I'm grateful for providing information that is important to our knowledge. My question is, why do many e-commerce businesses make their own package delivery lines, not use logistic services, Prof? And also Dr. Ahmad Yunan. And I would like to open for the 3 questions for the first session. And the question from Pak Ali Akbar, I would like to ask a question to Ahmad Yunan, Pak Dr. Ahmad Yunan. What are the recent challenges of supply chain management, especially here in Indonesia, including maybe so many documents and also policies? So we're waiting for the answer. And the last question come up from Atalia Heliana. Hello, Atalia. You raise your hand.
Yes.
Okay. So please introduce yourself and deliver your question.
Okay, I'm asking my question. Let me introduce myself. My name is Atalia Heliana Putri. And I want to ask something about this internet technology. Okay. With the internet, almost all organizations have an intranet. Do you know intranet, Mr. or Miss? Okay.
Yes.
How is the use of intranet in Indonesia and Taiwan with supply chain management? I need for 2 information from Dr. Leo and Mr. Yunan. That's my question.
Okay, Atalia, are you a student? Which department or program study you are? What is your program study?
Administration, business administration.
Business administration. All right. Very good question from Atalia. So that's all for the first session for our distinguished speakers. The first one is from Kevin, and the second one from Pak Aldi, and the third one asking about intranet. Since Prof. Liu has talking about supplier has their own network, company have their own network. It looks like one internet, another internet, how to combine with that? So I give a chance for the first question will be answered by Prof. Liu and then also by Dr. Ahmad Yunan. So please, Prof.
Okay. On questions of why do so many e-commerce businesses still make their own package delivery lines? Well, the question is not very specific to which company. So, and I do not know which, also do not know which company, whether you have any specific company that you're talking about. But in general, when we say why is there a need to continue to develop your own line? From the business perspective, it is for mainly 3 things. The first one is better coordination, because it is your own company. You can organize it and plan it whatever way that you want. Okay, and that is to basically to increase or improve efficiency, to maximize the efficiency that you can draw out from there. The second one is in terms of better control, because they belong to you. So you decide how you want it, especially the bosses. Yeah. And then the third consideration is actually the cost. Now imagine that you can make the decisions the way you want, because every company has a different structure, has a different design. Okay, so by maximizing the coordination, that will reduce your cost in a way. And secondly, by not going to a delivery, a logistics service, you actually cut off one layer of profit from the entire service. Now imagine that you have to go through a logistics service, the logistics service to charge a fee to you, and you have to think about whether you want to absorb those fees or you want to pass the fee to the consumer. Yeah, and that fee is their cost plus their profit. Yeah, so by cutting removing this, I mean, put it another way, by doing it on your own, you kind of like build everything into your service. Yeah. So that is the general reason why you want to do your own instead of using other people. Prof. Yunan, perhaps you have something to add to this.
Yes.
Okay, Prof. Yu. Hi, Kevin. Kevin, yeah. Okay, this is an interesting question from Kevin. Yeah. Why do many e-commerce business make their own package delivery lines, not use logistics services? There are two answers from me to for Kevin. The first is this is a challenge for you to make sure the player, the e-commerce trader, to how to shift their paradigm from the entire process to be the specialized process just to make and market their product. I think this is very logic. But in our opinion, there are shifting paradigms in business e-commerce where the producer is going to make their specialization. Yeah. You can look at you can see in Bandung, like Ina Cookies, and then newcomer or new player in business commerce. They invite and they enforce the courier service operator to deliver their product to their customer. Like we know that the Indonesian very high in growing for courier services. Yeah, like for courier city courier like Grab, and then GoFood, and then also many service providers for city courier, and also in the city courier like you know the growth of the business courier business like Cepat. You can see the Cepat in the short time they develop and has many warehouse for to support their own business like this. So I think that there are shifting paradigms in the business of e-commerce. Itu Kevin, yeah. Hey, Kevin.
Okay. Right. Thank you. For Prof. Lee, you said that a better coordination, a better control, and also for the cost itself as the main concentration. Which part actually have to take control dominantly for the better coordination and for a better control in each long way of the supply chain management part is itself, Prof. Lee?
Well, basically, can you send the question again? Can you ask the question again?
I mean, who have to control more dominantly to create a better coordination? It means that imagine there's a manufacturing distributor and also retailer or seller. Maybe which part should to control it dominantly for a great coordination?
Okay. Yeah. It is hard to tell. Okay, because it depends on who has the most power along the line, along the entire chain. So usually the one with the most power would actually control. Take, for example, an interesting example in Taiwan. We have a lot of food panda. Okay, so this is a food delivery logistic chain that goes around and link up everybody. Now, initially, when the idea first came on, many people will actually be skeptical, especially on these extra charges for food. You see, these food delivery people, they come around to all these small food vendors, and they say that I will help you to deliver, but I will charge a certain percentage. I think Foodpanda charge quite a lot on each delivery. So this is the way that they earn money. So they charge the vendor, the food seller, and they also charge the customer. So they actually collect money from both sides. to earn as part of their profit. Now, initially, people are quite skeptical on this kind of business model because we'll say, well, how much does a normal food, a packaged food would cost if I order from the next street and have it delivered to my house, and I have to pay for it. Yeah, but I think partly it is because of the Taiwanese culture for that looks for a lot of convenience. So people basically, or the consumer generally doesn't mind paying a little bit extra to get their food delivered to their doorsteps. And that is one element that calls for the thrive of Food Panda or another competitor. The biggest competitor now for Food Panda is Uber Eats. And so they are doing very well. But so much so that we are also beginning to realize that that there's actually a different price being charged if you eat in at the food store compared to have food delivered to our house. So when I try to place order using Food Panda app, I find that every single item that is on the menu costs about $10 to $20 more. I mean Taiwan dollars. $10 to $20 more. Now imagine that a food generally would cost, let's say $50. An additional $10 is a 20% extra compared to eating in or going to the store yourself to pick it up. You know, so and then imagine that Food Panda continue to do the same onto the food seller. That means they collect $10 from me as a consumer, and they also collect the same amount, $10 from the seller. Basically, the 20% eats in on a major part of the food seller's profit. You know, so all the food sellers are basically complaining that, look, all my profit all gone to Food Panda and Uber Eats. Why am I in business then? There's no point in to continue with my own business. So that is actually if you say, no, who has the control over that? Now, Food Panda has the control on the information. They managed to come up with a very good platform that links all the food seller together. But again, is it benefiting to everybody? I would say that is still a very big question in terms of who benefits the most. Maybe Food Panda and Uber Eats benefits the most out of this entire deal. Yeah. And we begin also to see that some food sellers, they would prefer not to join. Yeah, they do not want Food Panda and they do not want Uber Eats to come in. Basically, if you ask them for the reason, they say that, well, they charge too expensive. Yeah, so it is a big decision on whether one food seller would want to join Food Panda for the convenience, but they will basically eat into their profit, so which makes their profit very small compared to if they just stay on the same spot and continue to sell things as they are. Yeah, a big business decision that they have to make. So who has more power? I don't know. In this case, Food Panda, Uber Eats seems to have the most power. But if you look at some big manufacturer, big supplier, then they are the one who has the power. You know, big companies like Shiseido that sells cosmetics. You know, they do not want other people. You know, they can choose to do their own because they have the power to vertical integrate with those who are in the logistics as well as integrate upwards, and that is where it makes the difference. Yeah, Dr. Yunan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with Prof. Leo. Yeah. Yet it depends on who has the most power in the system. Yeah, like in Indonesia also, Prof. Leo, Toyota for manufacturing company. Yeah. Toyota is the most. Toyota has the most power in the system. Yeah. So Toyota can control the coordination, collaboration for its supplier, also its distributor also. Yeah. Also IKEA maybe. Yeah. IKEA as retail company that can control the coordination and many examples. I think like so.
Okay, thank you. And also Food Panda, double profit, and also master the data, right, Prof? The
Yes.
business intelligence handle it also. So we
Yes.
move to the second question. What is actually basically the challenging part in supply chain management? I would like to aid for the Pak Aldi's question from the perspective of Indonesia and also from the perspective in Taiwan. Maybe would like to start. Dr.
Okay.
Yuan.
Okay. Pak Aldi, thank you. Very interesting question. So many challenges in Indonesia. Yeah, we know that Indonesia is very big country with abundant resources. The supply chain management is also very challenging for the perspective of policymaker, especially how to distribute the industrial condition more what we say merata gitu ya. From the not only in Java, you know, like let me give one example in cement industry, cement industry, yeah. Cement industry, there are many manufacturer, many location manufacturer in the cement, yeah, like in Tonasa, Papua, even in Papua there is also cement manufacturer, corn cement, China investor, and then Sumatra, but mostly the market is in Java. they also their target, the most targeted market also in Java. This is the big question for us in the term of policy making, and also the in retail also, yeah, retail, because with the huge population, Indonesia also needs the like in food, yeah, food in food. So many, Pak Aldi, yeah, many in terms of commodities, in terms of the area of operation, the area of policy making, and many aspects, the challenging of the supply chain management. So I think that Pak Aldi, better for us to have joint research with Prof. Liu for discuss this challenging field of supply chain management in Indonesia and Taiwan. Sure.
Okay, thank you so much. How about in Taiwan, Prof. Liu?
Well, Taiwan, as I mentioned in my presentation, is a very small country. So we do not have as big a problem with the big masses of land to cover as in Indonesia, and more so, there's only one piece of land. So Taiwan is from north to south. It is all road accessible by road transport. Unlike Indonesia, where some places are only accessible by water or by air, that poses an additional level of challenge. So in Taiwan, we do not have the landmass to deal with, and we do not have to consider different types of transportation mode. But so everybody is focused very much on the cost. How do you reduce or keep the cost at an absolute minimum, so as to maximize the benefit that the consumer can get at the consumer end? So all these things, you know, sharing of information, sharing of documents at the back end is still transparent to the consumer, and consumer basically don't care about those things, you know. Do it at your own cost, yeah. So cost is a major consideration, major challenge in Taiwan. The second one is, as I mentioned, everybody develops their own kind of information system. So now when it comes to sharing, you know, what to share, how to share, you know, that becomes a challenge, because as I say, the different platforms, at least to the minimum, SAP and Oracle don't talk to each other. You know, as big as they are, they still don't talk to each other. So you have to export. Imagine the data for those who are more familiar with the databases. You know that information has to be exported into CSV format so that then it can go across platform. But even in CSV format, you have to ensure that every column matches with each other. If you make a slight mistake on a different column, then thank God you have tons of information that is being imported in there, and that is wrong. Then you have to have a lot of effort in cleaning up the imported information and redo everything again. So that is a big challenge. And the third one is, of course, leadership. As I say, culturally wise, Chinese are still very they're still from the cultural aspect, we call that power distance. That means the hierarchy is important, but if you continue to leave decision making to the top level and not allow the lower level to more freedom to make decisions and to participate in the decisions making, then a lot of advantage is actually not used. So the third challenge, I would say, in Taiwan would be leadership. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Back
much.
to you.
Thank you for the answer. And I think it's also related for the third answer about intranet. How is actually to build integrated intranet or network to share the data? From Prof. Louis, maybe for the first.
Yes, as I mentioned, everybody has their own internet. We had some we had some big internet like IBM. They used to create a very huge intranet and try to get people to get onto it. But unfortunately, as IBM went off slowly in the market, and then where other companies come in as a big system provider, that is no longer there. But intranet itself is still an important aspect. Take in Taiwan, Uni President Group, which operates about 5,000 7-Eleven stores in Taiwan, for example. They rely heavily on their super efficient intranet system, and they actually incorporate blockchain into their system so that they can actually generate sufficient reports and information being updated. So these delivery trucks that runs all over Taiwan is connected to the internet, so that they know exactly for example, each delivery truck, they drop off a certain amount of goods in first store, and while en route to the second store, they can actually be asked to make a detour on the third store that is midway and to drop off some extra goods, because the moment those goods are being taken off in the first store, the entire headquarters system, the mainframe system, is updated with information that we have some extra here. So if you have, since you have an extra, please drop these extras off at the third store and on your way to the second store. So which in this case, you can see that the number of trips that these delivery trucks has to make actually is reduced through the intranet system updates that flows seamlessly. So within an organization, an intranet is still very useful. But again, we have many of this intranet system is very proprietary. That means it lies within the group of businesses. Yeah. So Uni President has a very unique, it is a very big company, and they have a unique arrangement whereby they have not only the 5,000 plus 7-Eleven stores covering the entire Taiwan, but they also have three major distribution centers that operates independently, but are on the same internet. So they are some of these are subsidiaries, some of these are their vendors. So they are able to bring in their vendors and suppliers into the intranet system, so as to make information flow more seamlessly and more smoothly. And this is the advantage of using an intranet. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Liu.
And I hope I answer your questions, Atalia.
Yes, Atalia. Maybe we'll complete it by Dr. Yunan.
Okay, thank you, Atalia, for the question. I think that the most basic problem is how to integrate our process, our business internally and externally. Yeah. Sometimes we have to develop our platform, our system by ourselves because of efficient and also effective material. But sometimes it's very expensive to develop by ourselves. So it's common that a company have many platform or many system in the company for the internal integration and also for external, yeah, to the supplier or customer. So the problem is how to integrate. So I think that we need something like API, yeah? Application program interface. Yeah. So the most concern is how to integrate our business, our process effectively, and we can work with the system to produce a product or service, how to fulfill the customer requirement in their contract or service level at cost efficiently. I think so.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Yunan. We move to the second part on a question and answer session. We have a question on a chat box from Ibu Christina Cecilia. Prof. Liu, I completely agree with you that programming is a mandatory subject for all disciplines, including for business students. I'd like to know about how do you teach your students, your business students in Taiwan, programming subject? How deep should they know about the programming? Which topic is essential for the business for the students in Taiwan? Prof. Liu.
Okay, Christina, Cecilia, you actually got me because I am not the one who is teaching the programming language. Okay, but no problem. But what happens over here is I think for students in Taiwan or in other subjects, we do not actually teach programming language very deeply. And I think from what I know, the most popular language that we use for the business student is Python. Yeah. So basically, if you have used Python before, you know that it is very simple to learn. All the components of the programming language is built like a jigsaw puzzle. So what you need to do is just to put all the jigsaw puzzles together into one big piece of object. Then you have the entire program. So the idea is not to make them into programming experts, but to the extent that they only need to know how it works and how to do it. And these programming language are usually taught at third year students onwards. So they would have some basic business knowledge already from the first 2 years of their study. So in their third year, they are able to then think about what kind of projects they want to create. For example, a simple projects on logistics. How do we know, or how do we write a program to allow an approaching object to stop at a boom gate, yeah, for car park entry? So the system will be able to detect that and a car has pulled up at the boom gate, and to activate the license plate reader to read the license plate before opening the boom gate to allow the car to enter the parking bay, and also to keep track of how many cars, how many vehicles is in the parking lot. So once all the parking lot is full, then it will actually show a different sign saying that parking lot full, please wait. And it will not go away until one car has left the parking lot before it allows this car to enter. So in terms of programming language, the first part of first semester probably is to learn about the basics of how the programming works based on different scenarios. And the second part would be for students to come up with some simple project. So you have students who come up with parking programming. We have students who come up with an easy business game to teach other students on some simple business concepts. We also have a truck tracking system. So like the one that I talk about in 7-Eleven trucks. So they know exactly where the truck is on the Taiwan map, and then and the map also can highlight all the 7-Eleven stores, so that they know how much time the truck will be able to get from one location to another location. So these are actually practical use of programming language to solve common business problem. And we hope that we are able to create at least some interest in students and to go in and further understand more about programming and how it interacts with the business system. Yeah. So programming is not about coming out with a very good top-notch programming software that doesn't understand the system. Yeah. So the business students knows about how the basics of business operation and are able to use IT and programming to solve business problems and not to create more problems for the business. All right. So I hope that answers your questions, Christina.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Liu. It's also inspire us in our department. Maybe we have to also provide it, learn from Dr. Liu's sharing. So yes, Kevin, you raise your hand.
Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kevin Yuan Ze, and I want to continue my previous question. And it's not better to shift the risk to the logistic company to deliver to order. And do logistic service provide need to create an e-commerce business in order to benefit from the current better e-commerce business? Maybe my question is about logistic deliver from in internal country, not is export import. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe Dr. Ahmad Yunani will answer Kevin's further questions.
Okay, Kevin. Yeah, I think you are interested in building a logistic service company. Yeah. Okay. What the first question? Better. The first question.
My question is not better to shift the risks to the logistic company, transfer risks to logistic company to deliver to the order customer in e-commerce.
Okay. In the supply chain system, we know that logistic service providers is the support entity, supporting entities. So we cannot deliver our product, our services without their support. Like the logistic service provider itself, it can be a basic service like transportation, warehousing, and also can be third-party logistic, who the company that operate all the aspect of all the activities of the logistic, like order management, picking, and managing warehouse, and also distribute and deliver to the last mile or the to the end customer. Yeah, I think that the risk of the delivery it will be depends on the contract. Yeah, it depends on contract. Almost the risk of the delivery activities is upon the logistics service provider, I think. Yeah. So like this practical, the practical aspect. When we order some items in e-commerce, like Tokopedia in Indonesia, Tokopedia, Shopee, and there is a process where that we ask to how to deliver, how to get your material, how to get your items in same day, next day, in one week, maybe like that. Yeah. So the product owner will be automatically select the logistic service or courier service that will deliver with its customer selection. You get it, Kevin? Yeah. Okay. So the rest is upon mostly upon the logistic service provider. And the second question: does logistic service provider is interested to also run business as producer like that? I think no. Yeah, because it's very risky to logistic service provider to make its own product to sell, to distribute, to run business as a producer. I think as I know, yeah, almost the logistics services provider concern to their core competencies, their activities like transporting, warehousing, delivery, last mile or first mile, and so on. I think so, Kevin.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ahmad Yunan. Thank you, Kevin. For the further question, maybe you're still a little bit curious about e-commerce, you can contact our distinguished speakers today. And I would like to invite, there is one participant, raise your hand, if I'm not mistaken. Who is that? Yes, Teddy Habibur Rahman. Yes, Teddy.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, please.
My name is Teddy Habibur Rahman, Sudana Yudonegara. You can just call me Ted. I am from business administration major. Before I pose the question, I'm so sorry if this question is considered not very related to the main topic of the day, but I would really just love to know your opinions about one of the most important aspects of learning business management or administration, which is decision making. I mean, we all can agree that decision making is very essential in running a business. So I just want to know about it from supply chain management perspective, especially on how to prepare to always choose the right decision for for us to be ready for the bad things that could happen in the future, or let's just say to be ready for a rainy day. That's all.
Okay, thank you. In terms of decision making, I would like to also read the question from Pak Agus. If you may, would you please give a direction for the research themes or further research, which is what we call it, would be interested or very crucial to do the research in terms of supply chain management, not only for developed country, but also in the developing country. And it is possible to do collaboration for both of university or maybe another stakeholders in terms of a business itself. Maybe 2 questions for each distinguished speaker. Start from Prof. Liu.
Okay. Let me respond to the question from Ted, where you asked about decision making. How do we make sure that we always choose the right decision? My answer is there is no such thing as the right decision. So because at the point of making decision, we actually can only estimate what is the most likely outcome, and whether it will fall out exactly 100% to our estimation, to how we think it will happen. I think there's no way to tell. But how do we ensure that we make a better decision? Is by having better information. And this information comes partly from our past experience. It can also come from the information that we collect, right? So that's why I say as a leader, we need to be very open to suggestions, ideas, and communications with our subordinates, our aides, you know. So as a general, you cannot shut yourself out from all your lieutenants. You have to listen to them because they are the one who gives you the information. And the more information that you have, then hopefully you will be able to make a better decision with the information. Okay, and keep in mind that this information has to be accurate, yeah, timely and accurate, because if false information is given, then it will actually influence your ability to make a correct decision. One of the things that I always tell business managers, especially in the Asia part, is that you have to be bold enough, yeah, bold enough to make a decision. A lot of students from Asia, they are afraid of making decisions because in business, when we teach them how the decision-making process, they tend to analyze each options or each alternative. And when and mind you, all these alternatives, no matter how good you make them, how well you analyze it, they always have the plus point and the negative point, the advantages and the disadvantages. And the problem is that students will often be stuck at this crossroad. Say, so now if you ask me to analyze the three alternatives, for example, and each of them has advantages and disadvantages. Now, when it comes to decision making, I am stuck because there doesn't seem to exist an alternative that is the perfect decision making, and therefore they fail to make a decision. And I tell them that is always very risky. As a leader and to project your leadership, it is important that you know you can actually do a quick weighing of the different alternatives and come to a decision to choose a certain path, a certain alternative as the way forward, you know, and not to stand at the crossroad and unable to make decision. And this is when we call the leader or the decision maker as indecisive, because you cannot decide in between the three choices. So you have to move forward. And yes, you may have to take some risk. And the risk is, I am ready to take the positive consequences if it ends up well. If it fails, then I'm also ready to take the consequences. I will bite the bullet, you know, and just move ahead. You know, so that is something that all the decision makers has to develop the sense of risk taking, be bold enough, and also be ready to be responsible if it fails. And of course, everybody wants to be responsible if it is successful. Now, the second question I want to take on is in terms of potential collaborative research. Now, I am a professor with organizational management. So my research focus is more on organizational behavior as well as leadership. Yeah. So and that's why when it comes to talk about leadership, I would tend to have a little bit more to share, because that's all installed over here in my brain. Okay, but I'm open to leadership research. So if anybody who has any topic in the organizational behavior or leadership area, feel free to email me, and then we can then have a separate session to discuss how we can actually collaborate on some of those research. Now, being the director for the International Programs Office, I'm also in touch with many of our professors back in Yuan Ze University. So if you have any research interest or research topics that you think you may want to call for collaboration, please do send it my way, and then I'll circulate it among my professors, my colleagues, to see who is interested in doing more collaboration on research, and hopefully then if there is somebody who picks up the project, then you can actually do a direct communication as well. Yeah. So I am open to collaborative research. Welcome, and please let's start the throwing of idea across each other, and then we see where we can get.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for your answer, Prof. Liu. We move to the second explanation from Dr. Ahmad Yunan about decision making process among of supply chain management, and also about the further research directions in these topics. Please.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think that I agree with Prof. Liu. Decision making is one of the critical aspects of the business. Let me take an example. When lubricant manufacturer will deliver and process the warehouse system, they have no competencies in logistic service, in logistic activities. Yeah. So they need partner, they need service provider, and selecting the service provider is very risky and very critical aspect in this process. So they have to select the service provider with their own requirements. One of the requirements is the service provider has to be equipped by warehouse management system like that, and the system has to be able to communicate with their system. They use my SAP for they run business. So the system operated by service provider have to be able to communicate and integrate and collaborate with the system. What about the process? The process, I think Prof. Liu has exposed the process of decision making. Yeah. And what about the decision making for in the side of service provider? Service provider also has aspect of decision making in in my experience that when we will operate the warehouse management, we don't have warehouse management system, but the one requirement we have to fulfill to our customer, our client, lubricant manufacturer. So we have to develop the platform, and we decide that the system, the platform, it's impossible for us to develop ourselves. So we have to select the developer also. So this is the process and the visual what the critical aspect of decision making. I think so. For Pak Agus, I think probably open opportunities for us to join research there.
To join research, we have to think and execute this planning for institution. Well, I think this is the end of our question and answer session. Before I give it control back to our Master of Ceremony, I would like to hear Prof. Liu and Dr. Ahmad Yunan for closing remark or a short 1 to 2 minutes of conclusions. From from Liu.
Okay. So the supply chain management industry is actually developing very quickly and moving very quickly in this environment, and it is also with the help of a lot of this new disruptive technology, things like blockchain, IoT, and 5G connectivity. So it is very important that business managers begin to pick up and keep in touch with these various development, including learning up some of these knowledge and skills so that they can actually integrate it into the SCM decision making. And hopefully with that kind of integration, you will be able to propel your businesses to the next level, to be able to compete and survive in the 21st century. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Prof. Liu. Dr. Ahmad Yunan?
Okay, thank you, Puina. So I think that supply chain management is an interesting area, interesting field to research, I think. And there are so many issues and area in this, the supply chain management, like in policy making, business, and also education. So I asked my colleagues to come on to make research in this area. And Prof. Liu, I think that Prof. Liu has give us an open opportunity to together in joint research. I think so.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all distinguished speakers. Well, I would like to maybe from all our fruitful discussion about supply chain management, what we are going to go is what we call it as a supply chain 4.0 maybe, or supply chain 5.0. But basically is in terms of digitalizations, without forget and without forget what is actually the essential part of supply chain management. We cannot deny that supply chain management transformation to become more digitalized will make our organization faster, to implement strategic planning, and also more flexible, more granular, more accurate, like Prof. Liu said that, and definitely more efficiency, but also profitable for our business, but also the last one, customer satisfaction. Don't forget, for all researcher or business practitioners, to sum up and highlight the points about IoT, cloud technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain, 3D printing, automation, vehicle, and also connectivity among all the parties. Long journey of supply chain management. Thank you so much, Prof. Liu, direct from Yuan Ze University, Taiwan, and also Dr. Ahmad Yunan in Telkom University. What a great collaboration from our international seminar today. My name is Cut Irnestiawati. I think that's enough. My role as a moderator, I give the control back to our master of ceremony, Ibu Shirley. Thank you.
Thank you, Ina.
Okay, thank you to Prof. Liu, Dr. Ahmad Yunani, and Dr. Irna for the interesting session. I personally got a lot of new insight, and hopefully the others also feel the same too. So next, I would like to invite the Vice Dean 1 of School of Communication and Business, Dr. Chitra Kusumadewi, to give certificate and closing remarks to our speakers. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Ibu Shirley.
Okay, yeah, the time is yours, please.
Okay. Here's the certificate.
The operator, please show the short certificate.
Okay, Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Liu Chin. This is our form of appreciation for you as the speaker of our webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next one is for Dr. Ahmad Yunani. Thank you. Also, this certificate is presented to you as our appreciation for you as the speaker in our webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Citra.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, Dr. Chitra, maybe any closing remarks for today's webinars?
Okay, thank you, Ibu Shirley. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Alhamdulillah, our webinar today, the webinar of Supply Chain and Management Transformation, Practical and Research Experience in Indonesia and Taiwan, has been held smoothly. I'm very grateful to the presenters, Prof. Liu Yuechin from College of Management, Yuan Ze University, Taiwan, and also to Dr. Ahmad Yunani, SAMT from the School of Business and Communication, Telkom University, and also thank you to the moderator, Ibu Cut Irna, and also Master of Ceremony, Ibu Shirley, who have guided the event very well. Thank you so much. And hopefully today's activity will add insight to the participants and also will give benefit to all of us. And the collaboration between the two institutions can run sustainability. I'm also relieved to hear that Prof. Liu informed about the potential of joint research in the near future. Yeah, alhamdulillah. And to all of our lecturers, please catch and take the advantage of the opportunities offered by Prof. Liu. Okay, I think I think that's all from me. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Once again, thank you so much for Prof. Liu, Dr. Yuna, Dr. Irna, and all the participants that attend to today's webinar. On behalf of webinar team, I want to apologize if there's wrong word or deeds during the webinar, and hopefully all of you enjoy the webinar and got many insightful information. See you in the next webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Research and innovation are important aspects to encourage the nation development. As the best private university in Indonesia, Telkom University commits to continuously contribute by providing qualified education, which producing various researches and innovation for the nation development. As a part of PT Telkom Indonesia, under Yayasan Pendidikan Telkom, Telkom University was established in 2013 and merged by 4 educational institutions. As an ICT-based campus which has the best research and innovation, Telkom University has a purpose: contribute to the nation. Vision: become research and entrepreneur university in 2023, which plays an active role in the development of information technology, base technology, science, and art. Mission: organizing and developing international standard education based on information technology. Develop, disseminate, and apply internationally recognized technology, science, and art. Utilizing technology, science, and art for the welfare and advancement of national civilization through entrepreneurial competences. Telkom University is located in Bandung, West Java Province, Indonesia, which was built on an area of 50 hectares. Telkom University currently has more than 30,000 students, both local and international, from 34 provinces in Indonesia and 87 countries. In addition, Telkom University also has more than 55,000 alumni spread across 30 countries. Telkom University has various facilities that are maximized to be able to assist lecture activities. Telkom University is currently accredited A for higher education from BANPT. To produce the best graduate who competent, competitive, and have an active role in the development of technology, science, and art. Telkom University has 7 faculties: School of Electrical Engineering, School of Industrial Engineering, School of Computing, School of Economics and Business, School of Communication and Business, School of Creative Industries, and School of Applied Science. Telkom University has 37 study programs, 7 master degree programs, 22 bachelor degree programs, 1 applied undergraduate program, and 7 associate degree. From all of the total study programs, 51% of them are accredited internationally, while 65% courses are accredited A or superior from BANPT. In realizing a research and entrepreneurial university in 2023, TELU has designed many programs to enhance the quality of education and research in terms of strategic planning. As the best university in Indonesia, which has an active role in producing qualified graduates who are competitive and can give a positive impact on the progress of the nation and country, Telkom University focuses on the threefold mission of higher education, which contain of education, research, and community service. In terms of teaching, Telkom University has implemented a curriculum based on outcome-based education, student-centered learning, which emphasizes the sustainability of learning process in an innovative, interactive, and effective way. Telkom University also has qualified and competent teaching staff in conveying learning knowledge to students. Telkom University is the first campus that declared Merdeka Belajar Kampus Merdeka from the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia. During the COVID-19 pandemic, all the lecturing activities in Telkom University have been done online by using the learning management system, supported by application mobile center of learning and open education, which makes it easier from students and lecturers to access Siloi anywhere. Telkom University has international programs that are divided into regular program, partnership-based program, Dharma Siswa program, and short course program. On its way to become a research and entrepreneurial university, Telkom University has a main focus to establish an ecosystem and a research culture. In terms of research, Telkom University is able to manage various researches along with the result. So, Telkom University awarded as the university with the best innovation management from the Ministry of Research and Technology, National Agency for Research and Innovation, and is included in the Independent Cluster for Research. To support the research and innovation activities, Telkom University has 5 research centers that are supported by 31 research groups from each of the faculty. Telkom University is actively organizing international conferences in promoting scientific publication. Telkom University owns Bandung Technopark, which is Science Technopark and has 3 main roles. There are research and development, growing and developing technology-based startups, and growing the industry cluster so the innovation ecosystem can be realized. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Telkom University continually doing various research and innovation such as autonomous UVZ mobile robot, the first collaboration with Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan (LIPI) in Indonesia. Telkom University also creates dentist protective DenPro as personal protective equipment (PPE) in order to protect dentists from the spread of COVID-19 while doing their job. In terms of community service, Telkom University raised a rhythm of global research and community service program that focuses on a collaboration of community service activities in addition to application of practical research. For example, Telkom University commits to support the government's program of Citarum Harum through Kuliah Kerja Nyata. Students are focused onto 6th sector Citarum River. Telkom University has varieties of partnership programs with both local and international universities, government, and industries. One of well-known partnership programs of Telkom University is the appearance of the first Telecom Infra Project Community Lab in Indonesia, which is located in Telkom University in order to support the program Making Indonesia 4.0. In 7 years of its progress, Telkom University has proudly accomplished several achievements both nationally and internationally.
Telkom University is committed not only for producing graduates or base human capital, but also to continuously strive producing research and innovations that support for making Indonesia 4.0. Telkom University, creating the future.